Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roach Wiggle, November 16th, 2023. We've had a lot of discussion in the chat already. There I am. Let me take a moment. I was in the middle of something. I sat down here and I was trying to find something. I think I was going to maybe add a channel to the Bugapalooza Discord for something. Anyways, we've got LC, Alex Baranowski, Allie Last, JoJo's here. A lot of conversation back and forth. Anybody else? Orang Mango's here, the whole crew. I gotta say Tennyson. Let's see who else. Alan. Anybody else? Your hair. Yeah, Peter Kyle is missing a lot of hair. If you recall, it was auctioned to the highest bidder at the Bugapalooza, and I have paid my what is dude, and now we got this, and I thought I'd miss the hair a lot more. I actually don't miss it as much as I thought I would. It's nice. My head's nice and cool. It's fun to touch. And Loki is now getting a bag full of Armenian hair. It is just the hair from my head and part of my neck that was auctioned. Orang Mango asking the serious questions of why did the roach cross the road. Curious if there's a punchline to that. Let's see what else is going on. We've got Aquarimax is here. Keith Master of Chief. Hello. Bought a 40-gallon breeder for $60. Yeah, I think Petco and whatnot's running their no longer dollar per gallon sale. Now it's just we charge you what the things are actually worth as opposed to the inflated pricing sale. It's unfortunate, but it is the world we live in. Somebody looking for roach feces. Not even the roaches, just the feces. All right. Well, I guess I will sell somebody some containers full of roach poop, I suppose. I don't think look like I'm about to get drafted. Black Friday deals are going insane. You're bald. Hello, Leah. Everybody commenting on the hair today. They crossed the road to get to the live stream. That's why the roach was crossing the road. Is it some lady named Helen? Some hell lady at NSOC was interested in insects. Oh, the person who emailed me. I don't want to dox anybody, but I can at least say that no, it is not somebody by the name of Helen. How are your milkweed bugs doing? They are not. I actually have not been culturing Onchopeltis for a couple of years now. Instead, putting my effort into Lygius calmii, which is a easier, more accommodated species than Onchopeltis. I actually just need to the flagellates. Is it flagellates? I think it's some sort of protozoan that they get in their poop. It accumulates in enclosures over time, and then when they drink, when you mist off the sides, the poop mixes with the water, and they re-ingest the flagellates and the protozoans. So anyways, I have to do some refining of some stuff for getting better husband. Quite honestly, it's just been a hustle to keep on top of everything. Lately, we got some big things coming up. As everybody knows, there's the website overhaul. That's right around the corner. I'm taking next week off of shipping because it's not a good Thanksgiving week. Actually clean the house, get ready for a staycation that weekend. And then the following weekend is going to be JoJo Macro's visit to photograph as close to the whole collection as we can for the website overhaul. Exotic Wilderness, I see you there. Good to see you. Very excited to see your updated website, says Orang Mango. It's going to be a lot of work. I feel like it's almost certainly going to bleed into January too. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Oh, Alex, I can ship those on the 27th then. That's right, you wanted a sim list. Didn't they say I was going to ship them on the 27th? I can't remember. I just know that there's a roster filling up for the 27th, and that will... The donations have not quite been as abundant as hoped as of yet. I appreciate everybody who has paid for things. However, it is looking like, in the very least, I will have to keep selling over the course of December. I might do something ridiculous, though, like put a $300 minimum order thing up for the month of December, and just that'll be how it is. A lot of discussion in here today, guys. Elsie's going to the Keys. I was wondering how hard is it to find Eurycotis lixa. Pretty difficult now, especially since the main population we were aware of has probably been wiped out. But around, was it Big Pine Key is wherever that Banana Bay Inn and Resort is, was such a heel turn when they Marathon, Florida. Such a heel turn when they stopped letting people look for bugs there. The grounds crew, when we went there, were like, "Oh yeah, sure, come on, take all the bugs you find. We got tons of them." And then apparently, 2 years later, they started kicking people out for looking for stuff after hours, and they did a whole rebranding and stuff like that. Am I doing anything for Black Friday or Cyber Monday? No, I am not. Just because rough. One second, let me see what Jojo said here. Rough week in Canada for Discord shipping. Lots of fallen soldiers. Salutes. Excited for the break from shipping myself now. Lots of Dicecoid shipping. Yeah, it's been warm here. DOAs, less DOAs now than 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had that cold snap, but we are getting into the full on. Sorry, just saw a couple of emails saying stuff arrived in good shape. Just distracted me. We're going into full on winter pretty soon, which is also why I didn't want to ship in. Didn't want to ship in December. Do you give your invertebrates a Thanksgiving feast? I try to give the mammals a Thanksgiving feast, the mammals and the birds, but the bugs just kind of always have a feast. So it's a little redundant to try and offer them more. So, but yeah, guys, I looked at the will roaches eat human feces? Yes, as a definitive yes. I looked at the calendar. It's Thanksgiving next week. November is pretty much gone now. Thanksgiving next week. There will not be a live stream next week. And then November 30th is the night before Jojo Macro comes over. So I'm probably not going to be streaming on the 30th either, because I'm going to be getting things ready for that. And so it's looking like the next live stream is probably going to be on December 7th, and that will be the raffle drawing. I don't mean to. I have to say this. I don't want to make it difficult for the people who've already donated to the raffle pool, but we're not too many people getting raffle tickets. So if you're eyeballing some of the things that I put up, a couple of them nobody's put anything in for yet. So you could just throw a little bit this way, and you have a good chance of getting something. Keith is getting an axolotl for Christmas, as well as probably some roaches and isopods. Always exciting. What I would like for Christmas is a week off, but I can't necessarily have that. So I don't really want anything for Christmas. Some downtime and husbandry to be done. Elsie's looking for other Eurycotis in the Keys. Might also be a little tricky to find too. You depending on where you are, they don't seem to like places that are very human influenced or that are not left to kind of grow a bit. Orang Mango needs to get some tickets. Yes, purchase some tickets. Enable me. I've sent a couple of images to Chris of, they're very low poly, low quality images of concept stuff for the future site and some screen caps of other websites and stuff. So the process has begun. The groundbreaking has begun. The hardest part on my end is going to be, I think we're going to do I'm going to do an Excel file that might auto update to the website. So basically, I don't know what it's called. I don't do coding or anything, like a compiler, some sort of program that will transfer the information provided on the Excel sheet to the website. I might have to do something like there may have to be some internal jargon. Every page will have to have an internal reference number, and then all the other information will be automatically filled in, which would make my life Google Google Docs, yes, or something like that. But I have to find out we might actually even switch from WordPress to something else, depending on what I want to do and what's going to be the most feasible. Chris is also taking into account that it needs to be something. Thank you, Orang Mango. Can you show a colorful arthropod? Yes, I can. As soon as I finish my thought, which was, I'm going to like that right now, is, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So Chris wants to have a fail-safe that should something happen to him or whatever, that somebody else can pick up the website work and make quick sense of it if anything needs to be taken care of. What's something colorful that I have in this very room with me? That's a good question. What is colorful in here? There's Kyle's definition of colorful, and then there's the world's definition of colorful. It's two very different things. Corn toasts are always colorful. Uricotus opaca, but I don't really want to get those out, but I must. I've been. Cormac says, remember that you can also donate directly to the cause outside the raffle. Yes, any donations in any form are appreciated. What is something real good here? Gotta be something. How about one of you? Oh, that's a nice female. And she ran away. To get one of the really nice cherry-colored females, and I got the second best cherry-colored female, the Masola Hissers. Okay, we had a methodology for this. We do this. We don't do that. Always found that freshly molted roaches are usually a bit more skittish as adults than once they've sort of grown into their... Why are you so avoidant? It's very interesting. I've never had a hisser that was just wanted to get off of my hand so badly. There we go. Maybe that's better. Yeah, my hands don't smell very hissery. Come on. One day, everybody, this will be a lot easier, I swear. We'll look back on these old videos and we'll remember the classic charm of Kyle trying to get the webcam photo to focus on the bug for like 15 minutes. But at least I can keep running my mouth. Also, the fact that it's so... let's try the composition book. Y'all remember these bad boys? There we go. That should get it to do something. It's like a freaking mid-2000s webcam. There we go. There's a nice focus on that Portentosa Masola female. There we are. I have a stack of those. So we'll just... I'm going to try and read stuff over here while I can. We got... Satchel giving some tips on finding Uricotus floridana. Remember a big pine key? We found ooths of a Eurycotus. It was either Floridana or Lixa. Probably Lixa, but we never actually found any. The haircut definitely gives off Michigander. I feel like the old one did. It looked like I was a wannabe Kid Rock, maybe. That's another Michigan pastime that I can assure you all of. Hopefully it is burlap. Burlap. I found several Floridana at Big Pine Key. All right, Alan seconds that there's E Floridana there. I think that there's. Put this lovely little girl back. I hope that was a good enough eyeful orang mango. My thorax porcellana adult females are maturing, and I'm very happy about that. I hope there'll be babies around the corner. Alex thinks that you may have an intestinal parasite. Do you know which taxa? That's a sweeping statement. Also, very easy tapeworm culture. Kai was talking about wanting to culture crabs for a while. We discussed how, as hilarious as that is, it's probably not the easiest thing to just get. It's not the easiest pest organism to just go and acquire. So, that reminds me, I'm going to be trying out with pill millipedes offering dolomite lime for not just for them to eat, but also for keeping the soil pH proper. That definitely looks like something I can get at the corner store that I might have to run out to tomorrow. But I wanted to see if that might be a factor in raising pill millipedes, is keeping the soil pH from being too acidic. It seems like they tend to be found on calcareous soils. So I wanted to give this a go. I'm probably going to order one online and then go into the hydroponic store tomorrow and see more. Because actually, wait, is the hydroponic store open tonight? Can I go after the stream? Can I kill two birds with one stone here? Alex, I drank it out of a well with cow poop in a few months in New Mexico. That's an easy recipe for intestinal parasites, I must say. Ivermectin. Alan says, you do realize most of the Alabama has acidic soil. Yeah, but I'm saying for glomerulus, they usually comment that like the larger pill millipedes are found on more calcareous soils. So I wanted to see if it may factor in. So let me see if that, what's it called? There's like a billion weed stores and they all have similar names. I'm looking into acquiring some glomerulus. Grow Generation opens at 10 a.m. tomorrow. All right, well, I guess I'm going to go there at 10 a.m. tomorrow. The more rain an area gets, the lower the soil pH tends to be. The other thing is like where we found the anomalous or whichever one of those Alabama genre are, the soil might be less acidic since there's a lot of like groundwater movement there, or might have a higher amount of dissolved minerals in it, and I'm wondering if that might factor in. I'm just sort of toying around with things because I am convinced that there's it's got to be some easy gimmick to this stuff. It's like when you see isopods in the wild and they're all over the place, and then try to bring them into captivity and you can't really get them going, like a Hyloniscus trichonis or Hyloniscus. Is it trichoniscus? Yes, trichoniscus situation. So, LC wants to see Blabrus atropos. In the Keys, we just know of discoids, and they're just kind of localized, and I think they're probably on the decline as a general trend because of gentrification and just the secession of the Keys as time goes on is becoming less sort of rough around the edges, Caribbean, and more not that. As surprising as it is to hear that a invasive or introduced species is on the decline. You know, I'm actually looking at some Florida records right now. There are a lot of populations that surprisingly more on the mainland than in the Keys, especially around Miami. I've heard from people that seeing areas that have like chicken or pigeon coops tend to have populations of blabberus around them. It's a lot of food. Yeah, I'm looking at INAT. There's like one report from, let's zoom in real far here. It's probably an obscured location because it's a little tiny blip in the water. Yeah, it's like Marathon Key. Is this one of Alan's things or somebody's? It's Hydrophilus. Anybody hear the username Hydrophilus on INAT? Don't dox yourself, but I'm just curious. So, Aquarimax is looking for interesting arthropods in the Tampa, Florida area in late March. There's pockets of Aranavega floridensis in Tampa. There might actually be blabberus in Tampa. Let me look at the map. Yeah, there's a record for blabberus up around Tampa. There's millipedes. There's all kinds of introduced stuff. If you're going to be in an urban area, you get like there's a basic slew of like Florida tropical introduced things like Cubaris marina and Trichorhina, bumblebee millipedes, scarlet millipedes, Pycnoscelis, Periplaneta australacea. There's all that kind of stuff. I feel like I'm missing something from that like basic slew. Arcetolitris, things like that. That's all introduced in just like coastal Florida. Porcellanites floria, that's the other one. And then sometimes you get pockets of recently introduced or just cool stuff that you just kind of have to keep an eye out for. Alan says it's Eric Maxwell. Okay, cool. Well, now I can pester him for stuff that he's seen now, I guess. Cactus longhorn beetle questions. I have kept them. I tried to breed them. I think I kept them too dry. They probably breed during the moisture time of the year in the Southwest. Again, I think Oren said they were very easy to breed, but you probably have to get adults when they're in breeding mode. And again, there might be a humidity factor of things. Quiramax, thank you very much for the super chat. Again, you can get just a general slew. There's some random springtails and that stuff as well. But there's that, and just sort of always be looking, always be flipping stuff, always be thinking about what just possibly. Oh, there's some blabberus records from up near Gainesville. It's interesting. It's kind of like how there's a Phrynis record from Alabama. I think there's a blabberus record from Alabama too, interestingly enough. But it's also very likely there's all kinds of introduced stuff that like the state of Florida doesn't know about. We seem to find about I'm going to post something to the chat. This does not look like a discoid nymph. Really quick before I touch on anything other people have asked, I would like people to weigh in, especially you, Alan, on if you think this is a blabberus discoidalis nymph in this record, because it doesn't look like one. This looks more like a cranifer nymph, even though it's got some material on it. I might actually sick somebody on this record. I'm very, very, very curious about it. Those are Giganteus from Gainesville. Or is this that one, the weird, messed up one where the woman forgot to turn her GPS thing? Right, plus check the place on Google Maps. I've heard discoid and discoid. I guess Alan has confirmed that record was actually she this woman didn't turn off her her thing, her tracking something or other on her phone when she went to Central America, and so she's actually posted some stuff like Blabberus giganteus before, and then they show up as being from. Yeah, Alan's saying this. Some guy posted this, so yeah, so that there goes the hopes of finding Crania for any time soon easily, but we'll see. I'm going to go back up here and answer a couple of things. Allie Lass is looking for diving beetles and toe biters with no success. You know, there were there were a couple of newspaper articles within the last couple of years talking about how just like bug biomass is on the decline. And I really believe it, and I'm curious what it is. Also, really quick, Alex asked about who my favorite U.S. serial killer is. I don't really keep track of that stuff, so I don't really have a favorite. I just like the way that Count Dankula said Ted Bundy to Mrs. Christine Weston Chandler in one of their interviews. So I guess I'll go with Ted Bundy just because of that. Alan is surprised at how small Eublabrus marajora is. Really quick, I should finish up my thought with Allie's thing about the toe biters and whatnot. Yeah, I've read a couple of times where insects are on the decline, and they're using kind of arbitrary metrics where it's like, you know, people used to drive through rural areas and they get their whole windshields like slobbered in bug meat, and that doesn't really happen anymore. The closest thing I've had to that was driving around Arizona in September in 2021 when there was so much rain. There was just so much stuff emerging in the desert and reproducing. And so, yeah, it was like you could not drive a half a mile without splattering through like 50 to 100 sulfurs. But I've never really seen that in Michigan, like a big situation like that. I think it probably has to do with land use changes or suppression of natural like vegetation regimes, and then of course industrial agriculture. But the question is like there's a trophic aspect to that. You have to wonder if the bugs are on the decline, what's going to sort of replace them in that trophic level. You know, what's going to happen? Is something going to develop resistance, and suddenly we're going to end up with gigantic insects of some rapidly evolving taxon, or is it gonna be like there's gonna be a overgrowth of certain types of plant material, and then we're gonna get like monster deer or something like that because we just kind of let their populations do whatever they want. You know, I don't know. But yeah, Eublabrus marajora, yeah, they're quite small. I think I'm just on the cusp of getting some babies from mine. I'm super psyched for that. They seem to be in the like Serranus posticus cluster of species, which is neat. And on that same note, I think it was around the same time I got Hemiblabra granulata, and I had an adult male emerge, and it's also very surprising how small that species is. I still like it, but we keep kind of going down in size from like the CF Rosenei, and then we got the Tenebracosa, which is smaller, and the Granulata is just a gigantic jump downwards. Speaking of Hemiblabra, I have a contact who's going to Puerto Rico. I think she may already be there for Thanksgiving, who is a bug enthusiast who will be looking out for all kinds of fun things. And so I'm excited to get some Thanksgiving Day messages about cool stuff in Puerto Rico. Really hoping for Hemiblabra brunneri and then Aspeducus. So, all right, now I can catch up further down here. Doesn't bugs in cyberspace have some toe biters? Serial killers, mantises. Yeah, mantids are probably one of the closest things that nature has produced to just a mindless killing machine. That's props to that. Props to them for that. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there was something else I was going to talk about. I was thinking about adding a channel to the Discord. Again, it's the Bugapalooza Discord. I'm really trying to do as much as I can. I might maybe even rename the server, but I don't know. I just wanted to add for totally selfish reasons. I don't want to have a sale channel because I don't want to be responsible for that. But I am fine, I think, with adding a channel for people posting what they're looking for, and then people can contact each other in private messages, etc. And again, the selfish reason is that there's stuff that I'm looking for that I would like to put that out to a broader audience, in addition to the bounty page that I have a Roach Crossing. But again, the site's not getting updated lately, so let's see. We got Jonathan Green here. Says, hey everybody, finally got the package of Grylus to you in good shape, thankfully. I'm looking for friendship and peace of mind. You may not find that in a bug Discord server. Sorry to burst your bubble. It is unlikely. Yeah, there's a quixotic dream. So, but let's see what else. I did. There's a researcher from somewhere in Croatia who contacted me for, apparently the European Union is doing some sort of a bug related research and wants a bunch of cockroaches. So I'm working on producing to meet that metric by the springtime. And I'm very fortunate to say that it will be a good amount of funds to the Roach Crossing endeavor when that does come to fruition. Keith Master Chiefs, there is not another Discord server. There is just the one server, which again, I have made it a point that I don't want to do much in terms of managing or anything that. Alex, sorry to hear about your incessant pain and spiral. It is the human experience. Suffering is the human condition, and life kills all of us at the end. Is the most positive I can offer you. So that's nice that there's a big chunk of funding for stuff coming up on the horizon. But again, guys, I think it may be underestimated how much is gonna be done to Roach Crossing. You may open it up, like, I don't know if we're gonna do an incremental launch or if the site's gonna go down for some time and then pop back up, or exactly what. But it may come back up and you may be slapped on the homepage and be like, this looks exactly the same. But then when you finally go into the species pages and whatnot, things will be very, very different. And I would really like to, with the sheer volume of inventory, of species and inventory, I really want it to be easy for people to search through things, especially by multiple criteria. In addition to every single care page being updated or added is very important to me, getting that information and standardizing the way the dry metrics are presented. I will no longer hide the detailed species stats will no longer be hidden behind the detailed species stats click metric. They will be up front and center most likely, and flavor text will be further down the page, because what I'm assuming is people will scroll past the dry stuff, and at least then they're forced to look at it to get to flavor text further on in the in the page. And so that's ideal to me, instead of it just kind of being there and or underutilized. So Quermax has some garters. I have a garter who's kind of going through like an informal formation right now. She's in what has become the guest / Angela's room, and I'm just sort of letting the temperatures fluctuate in there. I kind of would like to cool her down more properly, because I really want to get babies out of her, because she's a patternless Eastern. But and there's a billion other things going on. Alex making a joke from 2007. I always appreciate a good throwback. Eric says information species you no longer have would still be helpful. Yeah, the kind of slight problem with that, or the slight caveat there, is I pretty much have everything that's on Roach Crossing still. So you should consider publishing a book with all your invertebrate knowledge. I will probably, when I'm in my 50s, publish a cockroach book that will be extremely detailed, simply because a hard copy will be valuable to some people, even if Roach Crossing exists in perpetuity. And I imagine in my twilight years, I will arrange some sort of funds, depending on if there's a what's the word I'm looking for? In case if I do not have a progeny, a prodigy, both of those, I guess, to keep up on the Roach Crossing mission. That way, that information will still be available to people long after I'm gone in hard form. And then also, again, if I have some sort of funding set up to keep the website up, even if it's just to maintain it, that'll be good too. So it will happen eventually, but I'm not in the part of my life where I can give that my full all. I still have to keep living. That would probably be a good thing, a good benchmark for me for after hitting like 500 species / strains of roaches. Where are we right now? I think we might actually be at or over 300 now, as of a couple of weeks ago. Let me check the roach list. Fortunately, it's been kind of down 1, up 10 every 6 months, which is nice. Okay, we are at 273. We are still approaching 300, probably just shy of 300 species and strains of roaches. But I think that 500 is a good benchmark to start kind of maybe not slowing down, but just kind of reprioritizing. Kyle starts a Kyle culture to culture more roaches. Yes, ultimately, everything is about continuing the roach cultures. The Candilian clan becomes the worldwide keeper of the roaches, their vanguard. Long after I'm done. I do not actually have adult Prosopocoilus bison cinctus. I have an adult male, but I do not actually have any that I produced myself. Or that I bred myself. I received all the ones that I have as larvae. NatureMan494, aka Will, says, "See you tomorrow, Boo." Will be coming over for 2 days for a seppuku mission to help me tidy things up and get on top of anything I'm falling behind with, and commit genocide against the Fulcid spiders in the basement, for lack of better terms. They have grown numerous, and their time has come. So actually, I think I think I'm going to put Fulcids on the Roach Crossing website, because you don't think this, but retailers like Carolina Biological sell stuff for that for like $10 each, and somehow they have not closed their doors. They sell. I was told they sell common hissing cockroaches for somewhere around $80 each, which is stupid for mutt Gromphidorina. It is literally stupid. So, Jonathan says Kyle clones himself. Yeah. Do you have any experience hatching eggs from a dead insect? My mom ran over a female fork-tailed bush-cated and a bunch of eggs came out, which I collected. Yeah. What have I done that with? I feel like I had that happen with an orthopteran, but unfortunately I can't recall the exact circumstances, any more details than that, other than it was successful. So follow your heart, and just try to do something with them, because you could be successful. Alan has found a dark Parkoblatta lata. Alan, I have regained my title of Parkoblatta King. So if that female produces offspring, I would like a couple to try and get a dark line going again. So, yeah, it's been ectobioid roach has been eating good for the last 2.5 years over here. My male offspring likes boys and girls. He's my bi son. That's a good one. That's a good Spider Palestine. We don't get political here, except on the Armenia situations. We can get political on that. LC, how did the Aaron Vega trade roaches come in? I have to give USPS their props. I don't know what's going on, if they hired on more staff or they finally somebody's slipping cocaine into the morning coffee, but they have been getting boxes to places on time. I had a box of dead roaches. They were sent dead, arrive in Arizona in like 2 days, and it's ridiculous that they got them out that fast. So maybe they're gearing up for the holidays, but man, they really got them moving. Now, Blastcat says, "Do you have any Pergodesmody?" I actually do. I have a good culture of a Pergodesmid from Kota Kinabalu, which was sent to me as an extra with an order domestically. And I have I don't know if I would call it a culture, but some Pergodesmids from Auburn, Alabama snuck in with my pill millipedes that I collected there. Well, Alan did most of the collecting this time around at that spot. So I think some of the wood that I grabbed had the Pergodesmids in with them. And they're still alive, and I saw some reproduction, but they kind of disappeared over the summer, and now I'm seeing more of them. So I think I'm going to toss them in with a larger millipede in the coming months, and that seems to be – that's how I have the Kota Kinabalus. They're in with the Binuaculus species that I have, I think, and they're doing quite well in there. I really like the big millipede, tiny millipede combo has been very successful for me with stuff. Aquarimax wants to buy Fulcids from me. That can be arranged. That could very easily be arranged. There are so many of them. And I don't go out of my way to kill spiders, but I kind of justify it as, when there's a whole bunch of them, in nature, there's usually some sort of catastrophe that happens, or the predator becomes more abundant, or something develops a search image for eating them. And so it's kind of a selective force to go through and wipe out as many as possible, every couple of months or years. And this is one of those times. Keith says, each for like any hisser is insane. Yeah, I agree. I would like to one day be producing line-bred hisser varieties with distinctive characters of different sorts, and depending on how big roaches eventually end up getting, I think if I get a Gronfidorina portentosa strain to like 6 inches reliably, and you can buy a culture and they're always like 6 inches or larger, I feel like that's probably worth that much money, if not more. That's going to be beating out a lot of other bugs in terms of size, but also longevity and ease of care. So, but yes, otherwise, if it's just random Gronfidorina and there's not even any information with them, like $80 each, kind of highway robbery. So, Keith got a colony of tiger hissing cockroaches for $40. But make sure with stuff like that, you're actually getting what you're paying for too. Well, you may be getting what you paid for. You may have a little bit of hybrid action going on in there. Grimdark Lemonade are one of our resident gastropod keepers, adding my usual touch of gastropod. My volumulus babies hatch took 24 to 25 days. If yours lay eggs, don't give up on them too fast. I don't think, maybe mine have laid eggs. I have them in a very subpar enclosure. The ones that I got actually have all been growing. They've added a lot to their shells, but I don't think it's a good long-term enclosure for them. And it's basically kind of just filler arc until I'm able to put them into something better, which hopefully over this weekend, but there's going to be a billion things that Will and I have to do, and the fun's not going to stop there. Yeah, I'm just going to work myself to death for the next Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, for the next 5-ish days, and then I get my nice 4 days off. So, well, a lot of things to do. Pina Blanca Notha had explosive hatch. I didn't Wait, Pina Blanca. I forgot you had Pina Blanca, Notha. The ones from Cave Creek Canyon are doing really well. Orang Mango says, where is the best place to search for pseudoscorpions? I found them once under a log, but then never again. In the eastern US, Midwest, they're kind of hard to find. You kind of, in my experience, you need to look at places that still have some intact kind of native habitat. And that's in the loosest sense of the word. If you look at one of those suburbs that they just clear cut everything and slapped grass on for 20 acres, you're not going to find them there, even if there's a woodlot popping up or something. But even a woodlot that's really heavily degraded with, at least in this area, like honeysuckle and privet and all that stuff, you can still find them if you look very closely in the leaf litter and stuff. But otherwise, they're kind of tricky. Again, in Michigan, we found them under sycamore bark. We found them in the guinea pig dropping poop pile in my yard that I piled up from last year's overwintering of guinea pigs. They're actually extremely abundant in there, that chernetid species. And but again, this is all because I still have intact oak forest in my yard, and so that's where obviously stuff has been. That's where the source of stuff has been, was just hanging on and whatever numbers out in the woods there. And the second there's viable habitat created, they move into it. And of course, they can disperse through phoresis by using larger animals, but I don't think it's a very reliable one, and you still have to have the animals they disperse on in the area for them to disperse on them in the first place. And then those things have to find suitable habitat wherever they land, or they have to find somewhere that the pseudoscorpions can actually get off of them and colonize too. There's a whole bunch of ifs there. So, but yeah. So usually the easiest to find in soil, I think it was the O horizon, was what Will had suggested, is the easiest place to find pseudoscorpions, just poking around. Then you get out, go down south, you go west, and they're kind of everywhere. You just have to it's kind of just a numbers game. Under bark, in logs, under the logs, in the leaf litter, crawling around, underneath stuff, under rocks, just kind of everywhere. So Grimdark describing some volumulous care. So, I mean, maybe I do have eggs, or it's also possible, again, mine are not in the best conditions. And I think actually the humidity and all that jazz and calcium is probably good. They're probably just too crowded. They might even be eating eggs as they're laid. So, again, I have to... I wonder how Kyle hasn't developed a roach allergy yet. I actually get very intense seasonal allergic reactions to roaches when it's dry in the wintertime. A lot of things will set me off if they especially if they stab me with their leg spines. So hissers and some of the larger blabberus, but it's only in the winter. And I think that's because my hands get so dry. I'm washing them constantly. There's a lot of air movement. The air is dry. It's just not getting any sunlight because it's winter. It's just absolutely awful for your skin. And so just the slightest things can really just set off your skin when you're in that shape. And then summer rolls around, or the spring rolls around, March, April, I'll even just get horrible eczema on my hands from washing them so frequently and stuff, with all that I have to do. But then again, spring, summer rolls around, the air humidity goes up, I actually get some sunlight, fine, completely gone. They don't give me a problem. So it's definitely the dryness and the ventilation just volatilizes all kinds of things, causes a different slew of microorganisms to pop up in enclosures. But to add to that, I have a couple of other allergies that cause similar effects. Crested gecko feet will give me little rashes on my hands. Crested gecko feet. Rat feet, not soft fur feet, not mice feet, but Rattus norvegicus rat feet will just make me hive up all over the place. And as much as I love Baloo, the cat, I do have a cat allergy. And if I'm indoors and I'm petting him, I'll start, if he's in here for more than like 15 minutes, I'll start to get sniffly. My eyes will start to get swollen. If I'm outside, imagining all that dust gets blown away, and as you're petting them and you've got more air volume and airflow, and I'm actually completely fine outside. So, Orang Mango wants to culture pseudoscorpions in your house and then reinstall them in your. Well, you can actually, nature be damned. Pseudoscorpions as an arachnid, I don't think you need any sort of permit to transport them across state lines. And USDA APHIS, I think somebody check in on this, and I will add. I have to add something about the USDA APHIS situation. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but anyways, you can then just transport them across state lines willy-nilly, just as you can buy Phonutria, the wandering spiders, and Latrodectus, and all kinds of other sorts of spiders. And there's not really anything stopping you from just throwing them outside. There's no oversight on all the arachnids because they're not an agricultural pest, because they don't directly feed on plants or have the potential to. So you could introduce something completely foreign to your yard, and you're not really doing anything wrong legally. The moral ramifications of it are something completely different, though, obviously. So, let's see. Alex asking about my cat. I think Blue was on live stream in one of the plant ones early on, I think, or during August maybe. But he is a yard cat, and he's eaten exactly one bird in his entire time here. He is definitely has a very strong preference for mammalian prey. And the one bird that he ate was my only male Cottonix quail that got out in the garage, and I found the feathers strewn across the garage in the yard the next day, and no quail. But he loves to bring me little domestic findings, a lot of rats, a lot of white-footed mice that he will find, and that's kind of his job, is to keep those away from the garden area and from the all the animal enclosures. Alan says people are simping for pseudoscorpions, so where's the love for tiny parthenogenetic amblypygids? Those are more expensive and harder to kind of keep at a colony-ish level, so that might explain part of it. Alex, yeah, it doesn't apply to mites, though. Mites are both for the U.S. and for international shipping to like Canada. Mites are a category that they do not allow, that you need the permits and the whatnot by the book for. Interestingly, Canada, you don't require a permit for any arachnids, and they go out of their. I've been told that they don't list mites or pseudoscorpions, which is funny because, again, it's kind of I think they go out of their way to mention you need them for mites, but you don't. But they just basically say nothing about pseudoscorpions. However, I have done several Canada imports in the last 6 months, and we have openly put pseudoscorpions on the customs forms and the all the information with the boxes, and they have not been confiscated or had any issues. So they don't care about pseudoscorpions either. LC asks if cocoa fiber works for extinct roaches. Yes, I've used that as the base for my Simondoa enclosure, and by now it's just about 3 inches of just built up frass that's been pressed down, and they basically turned it into their own substrate. I have been working with using my compost for substrates lately, and it's been working phenomenally. I'm seeing amazing results in isopods, and it's been turning around a couple of roach cultures that were kind of not stalling, but just weren't doing as good as I thought they could. And so I don't think I have enough to really openly sell it now, but I want to up my compost production when I move. And that indirectly means I need to have more mice and soft furs, because the best compost so far for roaches and isopods, millipedes, TBD what the exact best one is out of the stuff I'm working with, but for roaches and isopods has been the mouse and soft fur composted pine flake bedding. It just is candy to them. So, Orang Mangos, I started making fermented leaves to feed to things. I hope they enjoy. Yes, I've spent today up to my wrists in decomposed guinea pig substrate and fermenting leaves. I just ran out of like my last year's crop of oak, and so I'm starting to use this year's crop of maple that Angela brought me from her place. And we're going to see how that goes over. I do prefer to use oak because I know how to read it for the right state of decomposition, and I know how long it's been decomposing for, and I know how to apply it to all the bins in a way that makes it the most palatable to the isopods. You know, like sometimes it's like, okay, we press it all down underneath the bark, and then they eat it from the bottom as they go upwards towards the bark and all that stuff. Or all these ones gotta make a little cavern with the leaves in it to kind of lock in the humidity, and then they go in there and they feed on it. So stuff like that. So I'm curious about maple. I did use some of it last year, and I think some cultures really liked it, and I definitely killed at least 3 cultures using the fresher maple stuff. And it wasn't a question of contamination. It came from Mike's farm. He doesn't use anything. There's no pesticides, no nothing. Oh, Zero Cool Ninja, hello. I just saw your thing up there. Welcome. So he doesn't use any pesticides, herbicides. I don't really even think he uses dewormer for a lot of his hoof stock and whatnot. So it was definitely just the state that it was in when I offered it to them was not palatable, or changed the flora of the enclosure and made it bad. So congrats on feeding your arachnids today, Alex. Kyle, do you culture white-footed mice? I did try to culture white-footed mice a couple of years ago with what I think were actually siblings. For like a week or two, I was catching like what I think was a whole litter of white-footed mice on a glue trap downstairs. And I think when I finally caught all the ones that were roaming around, it ended up being like 3, and it was 2 males and 1 female. And I had them in a rodent setup, and I was feeding them roaches and dog food and the stuff I usually feed rodents, and they didn't really reproduce. And yet I know somebody else in Ohio who has a colony of white-footed mice that have just exploded on just like the same care, if not less than that. So I'm going to actually see if they have them available. I'll probably go visit them in February. Might go meet up with Orrin in February again too. I think it was the Columbus Reptile Expo that we went to in February. It's fun. It's fun to do a little something like that in the winter. And I'll see if I can get them. Probably get some then. Not sure about the legality of keeping them in Michigan. And we all have the whole USDA for situation going on with bug keeping, but with mammals and stuff like that, state level governments are usually infinitely more vicious. And though it's unlikely anybody would ever find out I was culturing them if I did have them, and while it's completely legal to torture them on a glue trap for several days, poison them, shoot them, gas them, bash their head in with a sledgehammer, there's a fair chance it's illegal to just propagate them, which is, interesting to say the least. So I do have interest in keeping them. I want to get the Santa Rosa mice again too. My contact with the white-footed mice has, I think, had Santa Rosa mice on the rebound, and the Egyptian African pygmy mice was another one high on my list. But for right now, I splurged a couple months ago at the expo. I ended up buying some of the rat. Not the rat. I mean, it's like the jumbo rat breeding bins, the ones that they use for like. Again, there's like the lab mouse bins, which are like a 6-quart size. Like that seems, it's fine. They're feeders, they're lab animals, whatever. But 6 quarts seems like it's too little space for even like a pair of mice and their offspring. So I use the rat breeders, which are I think like 25 quarts or something for my mice colonies, and I had my softwares in there, but they like to live on top of each other. They just generate so much filth in that space. It just gets disgusting if you have more than like 15 of them in there. So I bought the next size up. I think it's maybe like how many quarts is that? I'm trying to math it out. It's like 60 quart rodent containers. So that's where I'm doing all my software projects now. Agouti, just straight up Agouti is almost proved out. Cinnamon I've had proved out for a while. I just did a call. I got rid of some kink tails. I thought there were a lot more. There were only like 2 or 3 in a colony of like 60, so that was very surprising, especially when everything is as inbred as my rodent projects are, or at least the softwares are. And then I have a couple of other projects that are slowly proving out, but you really need the numbers to make some of those work. Keith Master of Chief just left, so bye to you. Jonathan Green saying Connecticut's weird about rodents. They don't say you can, but they don't say you can't. We've joked often that I may catch hentai virus one day. Satchel suggesting some spots for hispid cotton rats and for nutria. Nutria are explicitly illegal in the state of Michigan, along with yabbies. I've had this rant before. I know I have. The like big three. I mean, the nutria is a legitimate concern, but there was also again yabbies. You're not allowed to have. It was a Chirax destructor in Michigan that's been on the books for like 20 years now. Just Chirax destructor. You can have all the other Chirax species. You can't have destructor. Marmor obviously that's too late. They've already been introduced all over the place. Blah blah blah. Ecological collapse. And another one on there's nutria. You cannot own nutria in the state of Michigan. Giant African land snails too are on the state list of specifically banned species. And then a bunch of little like pond fish. Was it Ides, tenches, and roughies you cannot have. Jonathan Green says, I heard hentai virus. I keep saying that. I keep calling it hentai virus. Hantavirus is actually way overblown in terms of how many mice have it and its transmissibility. That is also what Will had told me from his mammalogy professor in college, was that it's very overblown. But it's, I would imagine the most likely place you're going to get something like that is like a filthy infestation in like an old human habitation, where their numbers just built up uncontrolled for a long time and the filth is just accumulated. Or maybe is like just the lowest chance, but more so than like, Joe Schmo finding a white-footed mice that crawled in from the woodlot next door, not likely to get hantavirus. But more like if you're in the middle of nowhere and, you go through 100 burrows of a species, you're probably going to find like one that's going to have it in there. Eric Matthews asking where to buy mouse breeders. So I got those bigger ones at the show, and LLL Reptiles was selling them for a while. That's where I got my first 1 or 2 rounds of mouse/rat breeding bins from. Very happy with the quality. Definitely a like lifetime product, unless the edges, if you had somebody who's handling them kind of carelessly, where you drop them the wrong way, the edges can sort of chip, and that's very annoying. I've fixed a couple of them with just hot glue, and it's worked just fine. But when properly used and delicately, the ones that I got from LL Reptile will last me beyond my lifetime, and I really like that. Orang Mango, I saw you requested Hilaria brevicornis tips. 3 inches of sandy topsoil. It's got having a little bit of an organic matter component in there to start off with, I think. An inch of crushed up rotten leaves, dead dry rotten leaves. You can work a little bit of wood into that as well. Keep the substrate moist, not wet, but just kind of moist, maybe more on the damp side of things. So there's not too much water. When you grab the substrate and you ball it up, it should retain its shape, but you should not be able to squeeze the water out of it, basically. For Hilaria, full top ventilation, a little bit of fish flakes now and then, some big pieces of bark to sort of keep the leaves and stuff pressed down to the substrate and sometimes they'll come up underneath the bark and they'll just crawl around or cling to it. And that's very easy, room temperature. I really like the Hilaria. Really hoping that somebody gets a mutant isolated from them, because it would be just really cool to have a Dalmatian or orange, just anything from Hilaria, just because of how big they are and how easy they are. Orang Mango says, it is too scary for me to keep anything with less than 6 legs. Yeah, working with mammals, working with small and medium mammals is kind of scary. Not even the big animals like the dogs, but the small stuff. They just got those little claws that could get into an inconvenient spot, or jaws and all that stuff, you know. Alex says Colorado is the hantavirus capital of the U.S. Did not know that. The Bug Bros might be your first time here. Welcome, if so. Says Tylobolus peds are underrated. Yes, they are. And I really wish that my Claremontanus would start reproducing reliably. The Unsigerus have been breeding like super duper well with minimum care for a couple of years now, since 2016, 17. That's more than a couple of years. I wish my Claremontanus would do that. God, I wish that were me. Orang Mango asking one more ice pack question. How do you keep your green spots? They're on 2-ish inches of yard composty substrate with some nice craggy bark. I think it's actually cottonwood. My preference is for ash. What's going on there? And full top ventilation. They're in a bit of a lull right now. That might be because I just split the culture and they're still bulking up their size a little bit, or it could be the sign of the end times. I don't know yet. I think I did see a baby in the old original enclosure after the split. So, but I remember them doing the best during the winter when I was watering more regularly, and again, it's drier. Alan, I think that they might like to be on the drier side, even maybe, but I'm hesitant to recommend that because I'm not sure. So, but they're on basically the same care regime as all my other ice supplies. Excuse me. No updates on Latibotella lucifrons, Alan. I think those oots, maybe they want to be dried out more and then rehydrated dramatically, or maybe they're duds. I don't know, but at least Alacta are doing really well. I think we're approaching adulthood. Really quick on that before I give my thoughts on the millipede questions that were just asked, because I think we're going to wrap up the stream soon. Next stream again will be December 7th, and it will probably be a longer stream because we're going to do the raffle. We're going to have a couple weeks to catch up on stuff. I'm going to be talking about the website and probably even working on it. Maybe I'll even do a thing where I just leave the live stream up to work on the website while I'm in here. It's going to be a lot of typing and information, and I might have to. I got to think about the best way to do this too. I have to coordinate how Jojo and I are going to do a list of things, and then I have to have a list of things to get onto the site, and then on top of that, I have to have all the information on that list of things. So there's a bunch of moving pieces here and a lot of work that needs to be done, but blah, blah, blah. Where was I going with this? Alacta. Oh, TJ brought up today how we have a species of Tagaloblatta from Okinawa in culture. And the holotype is Micropterus individuals, and he observed this and brought up to me, and I observed it, but I didn't say anything because I wasn't familiar with the species. I just got them and was like, oh, I'll just culture these, and then I'll I'll put them up and whatever. It's just, it's another tiny roach. I'll just get them going and figure out the details after that. And I did notice a winged adult with an ooth, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting because it looks like these other ones are like adults and they're about the same size. But it's possible Tagaloblatta that we have might actually be 2 separate species. Or if they're not 2 separate species, it's just really wonky, and it may be one of the most variable in wing length roach species on the planet, because that would mean you could have Micropterus and Macropterus individuals in the same population / culture, which is ridiculous. Hello, Luch. Good to see you. What's up? A lot of things, mostly getting ready to work and then relax and then work again, that kind of stuff. So millipede species. For larger species, a lot of the Narcissus are pretty easy. Gordonis are nice. They just take a long time. For kind of smaller, cool species, the Leptogonoeulus species Maui, or I think maybe it's been ID'd to Sorornis by now. Not sure. Those are really cool and pretty easy. Bumblebees are pretty easy, pretty dry tolerant. Chicobulus, just as long as you have enough good quality organic matter for them, Chicobulus are easy, but they kind of like it to keep coming, and they don't like it if it runs out. What's another really good? Leptogonoeulus sorornis has been called the hothouse white leg. It's Spirobolellus. That is the species I was thinking of before, as a small millipede, and they also fluoresce under black light, which is cool. I've really been liking Benoitulus lately, and those will be definitely going up on Roach Crossing with the site update. Those also fluoresce. And I do love my Gigas, and they've been doing really well for many years for me now, and I've just now started to get a good amount of babies. I may have figured out the key to getting consistent reproduction out of them. I'm going to keep my mouth shut for now until I can confirm it, but I have a suspicion, a very strong suspicion. Orang Mango, thoughts on Anodonobulus arboreus? It's another species that's been doing pretty well for me, even though I neglected the crap out of them last fall. And just basic millipede care has been good. Not Gunlocki, the red phase or whatever we've been calling it of arboreus. The Gunlocki, I gotta see. My Puerto Rico contact's going to try and collect them. There's a black subspecies of arboreus that she finds all over where she lives. So those are definitely going to be coming my way. She has seen Gunlocki, but they might be the reason why people might fail with them is they might actually be a cloud forest species. They might like to be cooler and pretty much wet. But we'll see if she can confirm that. I told her, even if you find something, even if it's just like the gutter outside of your house, get a picture of it, like where you found it, macro and micro habitat, so we can dissect it and sort of figure out what the deal is with them. So, Orang Mango, maybe have a fast typing friend, just smash keys while you talk for the website. I'm a pretty fast typer, actually. Angel was surprised at how fast I can type. So I don't have a problem with that, but it's just, again, we can automate the process of getting information from like an Excel sheet to the website and stuff like that. Hopefully, again, I'm going to talk to Chris about that. But we cannot accelerate the process of Kyle sitting down and saying, all right, we're rewriting the Derapeltis Polinoi page. These are my new recommendations for this, new recommendations for that, blah, blah, blah. That is where the bulk of the work is going into the site from my end. Again, Chris, master programmer, and has made some things sound like they're impossible and some things sound like he can do with a snap of his fingers. And that is outside of my realm of understanding in Ballywick. But my job is to get that information in a list and very pretty and categorical, and then putting it on the website all updated so that I don't have people asking me questions about things and I have to say, oh, don't read that. That was written 7 years ago for that species. This is my new recommendation. So that's where that is where your money is going to with the donations, is me sitting down and pouring out my brain to think about stuff. And then, of course, networking for some other things. So tracking down different isopod strains and species and finding out who created them. Could they be another species? What genetics do they have? How long have they been in the country? All this other stuff. Kim says, "Oh my God, I'm here 2 weeks in a row." Thank you for tuning in 2 weeks in a row, Kim. You caught the tail end of the stream, and the next one is not until December 7th when we are doing an a raffle auction on the brain. A raffle drawing for lots of fun stuff. For the viewers who are here, I'm going to go and I'm going to find the list of channel doesn't have any pin things. This channel, we got a list of what's being raffled. Again, you can look at the pin messages in the Roach Crossing Bugapalooza Discord. Actually, you can look at it on the website. I forgot I put it on Roach Crossing as well in the raffle fundraiser for the overhaul post. We're gonna go over those fabulous raffle prizes. All you have to do is email me, and we'll read the blog post so you can see the donation categories and all this other stuff and how to contact me to get in the raffle. But here's what's up for grabs. Again, raffle tickets are $10 to $20 depending on the category, so keep that in mind. You could be sitting pretty with some fun new bugs late this year / early next year, and also helping a good cause of getting the website up and going. Anyway, so here's what's up for raffle. We have a group of 12 Pseudoglomerus magnifica from Kuk Fuong, the magnificent emerald cockroaches. We have a group of 12 Pseudarmadillo spinosus, the Cuban spiny isopods. These are separate items I'm listing off now. We have a group of 4 tiny captive bred Archispirostreptus gigas. And next up, we have some things that are in sets or groups. We have this is a sort of a rare roach sampler group where you get a group of 12 Hemiblabra tenebricosa, Monroe County, Florida, a group of 20 Euthyrhapa pacifica, Oahu, Hawaii, and a group of 12 Paraspherus punctatus, the punctate roly-poly roach. That is all of those you receive if you enter that raffle. Then we have a group of 25 mixed Simondoa concerfarium. That is another thing, another separate category. Then we have a sort of rare Gyna sampler, 15 mixed Gyna centurio, 15 Gyna bisanulata, and 15 Gyna cappuccina. You get all of those for that raffle group. And finally, we have a Thuria species sampler with all 3 that are currently readily cultured in the United States. We have 15 Thuria pediveriana, the domino roach, 15 Thuria regularis, the orange domino roach, and 15 Thuria olagrangiani, the question mark cockroach. And those are the raffle items. All of the proceeds from this goes to paying me to take a month off of fretting over taking orders through emails and instead focusing all of my time on getting the website up and going in its new form and all that lovely information for everybody with beautiful new photos of all kinds of things. Have you ever wondered, gosh, I just really wish I could see the difference between Parkablata virginica from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Dearborn, Michigan before I purchase them? I really need to see the difference between them. Well, now you will have high-resolution macro photography of, and this is going to take a while, but we're going to get as much done as we can when JoJo's here, of every single species available on Roach Crossing is the end goal. Everything from roaches to isopods to millipedes, etc. It's the end goal. So, do unmarked tickets roll into all the sets? Dewey, I have been asking people to tell me which sets they want stuff to go to when they purchase the raffle tickets. That way, you can get exactly what you want. You want to go all in on the Simondoa, you can do that. You want to go half in on the, you want to get 10 tickets and go half on the Magnifica and half on the Spinosus, you can do that. So that's that. I definitely need to specify. Zero Cool Ninja 88 says, once I found your channel during the recent auction, I'm hooked. So much knowledge on these streams. Thank you, Zero Cool Ninja. And you are welcome to ask any questions about bug husbandry. If I don't see it, you can always do a super chat to extra get my attention. Then I kind of make it more of a priority in the moment. But I do try to answer everybody's questions about anything that you ask. Yes, please on Smack Smack. I don't know what that's. Oh, for a trivia giveaway. Maybe we'll do that on the 7th when I come back. We'll do a Christmas giveaway, maybe probably at least once during Christmas. Skip, I wonder that every night as I'm falling asleep. Thank you. See, Kim, the website specifically for people with your interests. You gotta see the differences. I do not think I would like personal protection devices made out of or filled with roach wings. I would pass on that, I would say. Alan asking the real questions here. Alan asking for roaches is going to be pics of adults, large nymphs, and small nymphs, or just one stage. So it's very likely for the bulk of images, we will get a picture of an adult pair in the highest resolution. And depending on how the pace goes, the availability in my colonies, he may get here and I only have nymphs of this species right now. Then we're kind of stuck doing just nymph pictures. But I am hoping to get about, for roaches at least, isopods is a different story, at least 4 categories for each species in terms of photos. High resolution macro photos of the adult sexes, ideally high-res images of the nymphs. Another, and then at least I guess that's 3 categories. And then another picture showing kind of the enclosure or sort of the roach in its sort of setup, so you can see how they hang out in their enclosure, how they cling to bark, or those extra sort of more artsy angle, artsy informative. And then, where applicable and possible, pictures of the roaches in their wild habitats. So that would be stuff for the Parkablata and anything else, the Aranavega maybe, the additional pictures to provide some context and information. So trying to get as much as possible. Don't know how much we're going to do. Jojo and I are definitely going to have to do more than one session of this, but this is good to just get the site into the next gen. Phil Cam asks, leave product description short and sweet with just basic info, then a link to your blog page going into about the species ABC. So with the descriptions, again, there will be a focus on the husbandry with the detailed care stats. Ideally will be sortable by category, by range, and other stuff. Sortable and front and center for each species, modernized so that it has my past 10 years of experience with everything added in. And below all of that, below the picture, below the Latin, below the strain, below the locality, all the information will be more of the flavor text underneath all that, sort of how it is now. But again, we're still devils in the details for the exact organization of the pages as they're going to occur. But again, you may look at things and be like, wow, this looks almost identical. Probably not going to be identical because I do want things organized a different way with the images and whatnot. We do have a template that I've provided with Chris to say, this is what I want things to look at this level of categorization, etc. So, but the thing is, I am really going to, I got to pester Chris. I got to see what his brain can do. I got to see what the other people who reached out to help with things can do. The most important thing is going to be sorting things categorically so that you can select, I want to sort by cockroaches. And again, this will be more with like the Latin name and all that stuff, a little bit more aesthetic. I want to be able to sort for purple cockroaches that are medium, which means they're between these sizes, that are non-climbing, that like to eat this food, that prefer this range of temperatures and this humidity. And then you'll see all the things that result for those. And again, I'm going to add more categories, probably a primary color category for some things too. And that it will generate a dynamic list below it, because right now the sort function was okay for when I only had like 100 things, but now compounding those different categories to get exactly what you wanted to find something is going to be big moving into the future. It's very important with the roaches. it's going to be even more important with the isopod sorting for strains and colors and all that other stuff. So, all right. Any last questions? We're going to wrap up the stream shortly. Smack said, "Oh yes, please to all the photography. Yes, I am at the. Are Jojo the photographer and Jojo the Canadian the same person or different? They are one and the same." Allie says, "Any tips on getting privet to grow indoors?" Lots of light, lots of light, and get a strain that's already fairly evergreen outdoors, and probably again lots of light. A lot of stuff. A lot of temperate plants really don't like low light, surprisingly. You think, oh, we're a temperate region, we're darker and colder, I can keep them darker and colder, but it's like, no, then they're triggered to go into a diapause to avoid those conditions. So, Eric, yes, sort by ease. Ease of care will also be a sort function, as it has been, but again, now more dynamic, where you can say, well, I want the difficult expert level cockroach that's pink and less than 10 millimeters and can't climb and likes to eat strawberries. That's what I'm going to be working on, is getting that sort of. Of course, there's going to be things where there's nothing that's going to meet those criteria, and that's just how it is. So, thank you, Kyle. Looking forward to the raffle and photo website update. It's going to be a lot of work. I'm hoping at launch, even if the photos are not ready, even if no photos are ready, even if Jojo and I completely fail or Jojo's got too much on his plate, which I know he does, even if we can't get any photos on the site in the future, as long as the skeleton is there for the sort, the categorization, all that stuff, as long as the skeleton's there and the search engine, the independent search engine is going to be a big thing. I need it to do a search by pages that are like product pages, and I need it to ignore the blog posts, because the search function is becoming very cluttered with blog posts. So there's going to be something like that worked into it too. So, but again, if by the end of December, all the information's there and categorical search is implemented and the search function is updated, that will be the success for now. And we'll just have to keep adding macro photos and stuff over time. But the interface needs to be changed and brought up to date with all the stuff. And I need to just add stuff too. There's literally hundreds of species. The majority of the bugs that are in this room surrounding me have not ever been posted on Roach Crossing. I think we went, what did I say? There's 200 species of things in here, and like 140 of them are not on Roach Crossing. So that has to be added. Kim, yes, I am using WordPress. Is there such a thing as too many springtails? Mine are going crazy. No, you can never have too many springtails. Smackspec says, any husbandry concerns keeping the small Paraplaneta Americana nymphs besides the desiccation? They're so small and I fear for their lives. No. They're Paraplaneta Americana. They are quite resilient, even to desiccation. As just basic roach husbandry will work for them. They are not even all that delicate at that size as well. Simply by virtue of being Americana. It's as tough as nails. I've never killed a colony of Paraplaneta Americana. You're going to need a chip jar after you complete the site. The donations link will always be open to generous donors. The site I do not have barely any expenses for the site to just keep the site up and running as it is. That is a non-issue. The only thing is my time into updating things. So, let's see anything. I'm pre-ordering a pre-copy of your Roach book signed in advance. I should do signed copies eventually when that is in my 50s. Lorraine, the only time I've seen too many clean springtails as an issue was Entomobria unostrigata outcompeted my baby Euthlastoblata southern bell roaches. They outcompeted the first instars by grinding the food into a powder, and the Euthlastoblata died out shortly after that. That is the only time I can directly point the finger at them being the direct problem, that only that species. Even Cecobria tropical pinks, I have never had an issue overtaking or doing anything wrong in any enclosures. Only Entomobria unostrigata in that place, in that specific instance, can I say, yes, they directly caused the downfall of this roach culture. So, how many times a day do you pee? Odd question, but depends on how much I'm drinking during that day. And 3, 4 ish. I'm a heavy coffee drinker, so that it's a what do they call that? Diuretic. That was a diuretic. So that causes some of that issue. So, all right, everybody. This has been an excellent live stream. Again, I'm unfortunately have to announce there will not be a live stream next week, Thanksgiving. I hope everybody has a lovely Thanksgiving, whatever you're doing. If you're doing a Friendsgiving, if you're seeing family, if you're home alone, watching YouTube videos, just know the Roach Wiggle is always your friend. You can always go back and watch the past two-ish years of content. Have been doing this if you ever need something to watch. Lots of content there. And then the following week, I will be frantically getting ready for JoJo's arrival, cleaning all the Gomper hair out of the house, tidying up all the rooms, stocking up on some food because we're going to need lots of food for our blitz. And then after that, we will be on to the raffle drawings. So keep that in mind. Again, I'm going to keep pushing the raffle. You can also just straight up donate to Roach Crossing, no strings attached to the site overhaul. And I like to watch the pest auction for the chaos. That's great, Allie. I'm glad you find someone enjoying that. JoJo's coming from a 4-dog, 2-cat house. Do not worry. Again, that JoJo, I respect the empathy you're trying to give me. I really do. However, and I don't mean to gatekeep, but not even Nazig, but just Victor alone produces more hair than I fathomed any animal of that size could possibly produce. The dog is a fur factory, and I forget who it was. It was somebody from the UMass bug group who got the bag of Victor hair. That was like maybe half of a brushing session with him, and it's like that all the time. That's like probably a 2 to 3 weeks worth of just standard hair production for that dog. It is insane. Nazig has not been as bad, but now she has her adult coat and we're going into winter. I don't know how it's going to be, but it's insane. So thankful Thanksgiving. Thank you, Eric Matthews. Stephen Logan just got in. Holy Christ, he's bald, looking good. Thank you. Yeah, I'll just tip my hat for everybody there. It'll be back soon enough. Fortunately, it's a blessing to be able to auto regenerate, especially if there's bugs that eat hair. It's a nice thing. It's nice to have the Victor hair, but just not in my house. I can't. You guys are just really keeping me. That's fine. We're not going to see each other for like 2 weeks. We got to get our goodbyes in, especially with next week. I'll just really quick before I end things. I'll answer a person. Welcome, a person. Welcome, Stephen Logan. Stephen, I got to text you about the termites. I think if you're good to ship them, I'm good to receive them. The window is closing fast for it being safe for them. But sign copies of the website photos. I'd have to talk to JoJo on how he feels about the licensing and whatnot to all that. But I can do that. You can look into that. I would love to sell some roach artwork or some photos on the website of just species. People, they're beautiful animals when you look at them up close. People are finding that out about a lot of things, like jumping spiders. A person, how long until you can make an entire woven carpet out of her fur? Out of both the dog's fur, you could probably make a carpet with 1 year's production of fur. That's that much. And not like just cheaply held together, but like an actual firm, like industrial quality carpet with how much fur those lovely little animals that I love with all of my heart produce in the kitchen. So, okay, everybody. I will see you all December 7th for the raffle. Donate, buy some raffle tickets. Get ready for a cozy December. I'm going to be on here a lot as I work on the website. Lots of spare time to spend with you guys. It's not really spare time. It's going to be working time. But a lot of time to just sit here and answer questions, engage, like things, etc. So take care, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you on December 7th. And until then and beyond, may your cultures ever be bountiful.